What has a parent said to you that made you go WTF? After I told my mother that I didn't open up to her or my dad was because I didn't trust them with my emotions, she started screaming that she hated me. Like, girl, this is exactly why I don't tell you things face with tears of joy. I shaved my head at 21 and kept that hairstyle for the last 28 years. My dad walked into my room when I was 26 and asked me for a comb. He looked at me, thought about it for a second and laughed. Rip Dad. I miss you. My mom told me that women pooped babies out of their butt. I believed this until I was 12 or 13. Boy, I got laughed at when I used this as my answer when asked in sex ed. When I called my mother to find out a good time of year to visit her, she said, "What for?" Eating all your vegetables, son, will make the hair grow on your chest and balls. Well, WTF if I don't want hairy balls, mom. My mom told me she wishes I'd just kill myself already once. She doesn't remember saying it, but it stuck with me as the most fucked up thing she's ever said. I wish I never had kids. My father once told me that between my brother and I was his favorite. This caught me off guard because I thought parents weren't supposed to have favorites. A few months ago I had gone to do a surprise visit my grandparents on my dad's side. While I was driving up their property, I saw them walking in their groceries and witnessed seeing my dad for the first time. I had never met my dad in my life but knew my grandparents. I walked up, greeted my grandmother, and she ushered me over. Go talk to my father. As I went to greet him, this dude threw his hood on and jumped in his truck and locked the doors and said no words to me. Never in my life have I witnessed a grown man run away like that. When I told my mom I didn't want to keep contact with my ex-husband as he had been abusive, she told me she knew there had been some hitting in the past but that she'd never witnessed it, and he'd always been very nice to her, so she'd like to go have coffee with him. Seriously? WTF? I should have aborted you. When her dryer needed cleaning because she didn't check Dad's pockets of laundry she was doing and a grease pen melted all over it. Just look at I looked like you, I'd kill myself. To chubby 5 or 6 years old me. Like, lady, just give me a salad or some shit. If you're like this now, I hate to think what you'll be like on your period. I was huddled in a chair, running a low-grade fever and suffering diarrhea. She was angry with me for trying to stay home from school. 1. It's a field trip day, I don't want to stay home, but hello, SP. 2. A period is a natural thing, and there are pads, tampons for that. Diarrhea is not natural and I can't exactly shove a cork in my colon. Spoiler, she made me go to school and I shat myself mid-field trip. My mom has told me not to date because the guy might molest my daughter. So I was a widow at 46 and according to her I should stay single. Temnage is your mother's favorite. Said directly to both my younger brother and sister. Made even worse by the fact that everybody knew my sister was his favorite. So, an extra fuck you to my brother, I guess. There were a lot of pretty shitty nuggets from him, but that one always stuck with me as an exceptionally unnecessary comment that serves no purpose other than fucking up your kid's self-worth. A lot of things. 1. My retina detached. My mom asked why I need a surgery to fix it. 2. When she could steal my bank account, she got mad and asked me why I was spending $30 a week at gas stations. Gas. What else would I get from a gas station every week? 3. Refuses to get a physical annual exam, mammograms, blood work, or anything that's recommended for her age. Tries to claim I'm the unhealthy one who doesn't take care of my health. 4. She tried to forge her friend's signature for a document that needs to be notarized and acted surprised when the court wouldn't accept it. My old boss said that she got jealous when her husband called their 4-year-old daughter beautiful. So she called her daughter ugly and told him to stop inflating her ego. She proudly admitted it to all of us as if it was normal, and it baffles me to this day. Called my dad asking how to set up a retirement fund, He said retirement is for the birds, work until you're dead click. That being raped repeatedly during childhood adolescence is part of life experience. OOF. I hadn't talked to my dad in 15 years. I decided to reach out for certain reasons and not to restart a relationship. He asked if he could ask me about my life. I let him. I told him, among other things, I was in a wonderful relationship with a terrific gal. Is this a real relationship or like the girlfriends I had when I was with your mother? I was equally glad I disowned him 15 years ago, disappointed a man and a father would speak like that to his estranged son, and angry that he was the father I was born to. He is just one big joke to me. Son, what does this WTF mean? I would often visit the kitchen to watch how my mother cook. One day when my father saw me coming out of the kitchen, he said, "You keep visiting kitchen, your dick and balls are gonna fall off. That's how girls are made." Context: I was 7 when he said that to me and we are Korean family. I reminded my mom that humans deserve a basic level of respect, and that the fact she considered obedience a form of respect skews her view on how to treat people, and she told me I don't have to respect you. You're my child. I was an adult at the time. If I didn't go get my dad alcohol, he always threatened to off me. Once we were at the harbor, I pretended not to hear him so he pushed me. I don't think he intended to, but I fell in the water between two parked boats. A man who's on one of the boats saw this and jumped in to save me. I was 10, so I wasn't a strong swimmer yet. My dad just laughed when the man was yelling at him. I live on a farm and was putting out minerals for the cows, and my stepdad said he better go outside with me so a homeless man doesn't take advantage of me. He knows I was a ped 3 times. Edit to clarify, also to fix a couple grammar mistakes to hopefully make it clearer. He knew because I told them every time it happened. Legal action was taken against the first person. You're a weak person. You should go kill yourself. After I opened up to my dad about my depression 6 months after my mom passed away. Once my mom talked about how my dad was a good father despite him having a bad upbringing with his dad. She was basically using it as an excuse for him while she was talking to extended family. Me and my dad always had a complicated relationship. I was scared of him as a kid and we don't talk very much now. At one point as a kid, the story goes, he tried to burn me with a lighter and it was a whole thing, but I guess we all moved on. I couldn't really believe it when I heard it. Your mom was a prostitute and I might not be your dad. I was age 11 when I was given this piece of information. For context, I work with a bunch of children, and I bring them food and drinks and stuff like that as well. When I came down with a bad cold, I stayed home from work, not because I was too tired to go in or anything, but because I obviously didn't want to get like 12 kids and their parents sick. Mum blew up at me, asking why I care about the kids at all. They're not mine after all. Like, geez mum, have some empathy. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. A few months back, my mother, who is in her late 70s, simply asked the question, why hasn't someone just shot Vladimir Putin in the face? Considering how old and very British she is, I would have expected bumped off or eliminated, not shot in the face. Is Quentin Tarantino directing my mother's imagination now? I'm raising my daughter to be a wife she's 4. Don't be a little bitch with the ball, because all those other fucking kids are gonna be coming for your shit. My neighbor talking about flag football with his 6-year-old son. At least he's playing catch with his kid, lol. They only wanted my twin. Dad wasn't around as a child. Meet dad when I am 7 years of age. Dad makes no attempt to connect. I had a hard time calling him dad cause he was a stranger. After doing the every other weekend thing, it became more of a chore to have to see him. When I'm about 11 years of age, he told me, you know, you don't have to come here if you don't want to. Even as an 11-year-old, I was baffled that a father would say that to his child. That was probably the first what the fuck I said in my head. Haven't seen or spoke to him since that day. 15 years and still going strong. Trigger warning. When my dad found out I self-harmed, he said, well, if you're going to do that shit, you may as well finish the fucking job and do it right. It's been 10 years and it still fucks with me sometimes. I needed to take my youngest sister with me to my appointment as I was taking her somewhere later, and afterwards she gleefully told me how beautiful my therapist was. I thought that was super adorable, and decided to share that sentiment with my mother. Her response: really? I thought she was black. Facepalm light skin tone emoji modifier ## I still haven't recovered from that response. Like, mom, you're Hispanic, you shouldn't be like this. Edit for